students who are going to be graduating from high school and who are going to a 2 or 4 year college or even a trade school if they need extra money or a school emphasizing technology.
That's awesome.
Now, I fund 90% of this scholarship myself.
Yes.
I do get some donations, and I thank those people who have donated for 16 straight years. Now, last year, and I always give the scholarship in the month of July because that was the birth month of my husband. He was a veteran of the Korean War, so I honor him. Now, last year, I gave 6 students a check for $500. Now, that might not seem like a lot, but in this day and time, when money is short, $500 will help with books,
Yes, ma'am.
buy a computer, help with transportation, etc. So I just want to put that out there. And so, Mr. Holman
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Anderson, young people that they can apply. The last week in April is the deadline to apply for the scholarship.
They will be on it, Miss Mother Doyle, Dr. Doyle. We just mentioned you at the Meriwether Library. Sharon Holly and Kareem Amin did storytelling, and our youth went there to listen to them Saturday. They also been involved with ABSCAT as well. So I'll get your information from you. Hold on, let me finish talking to the mother. I'm not going to disrespect the mother. And this has been about, I'm going to get the information, and then that way we can get them more involved, okay?
Yes, I can give you more details and everything.
Yes,
I just want to end with this. They had a beautiful program at the Science Museum this past weekend called the Invention Convention, where young people were creative in inventing all kinds of things. So I just wanted to say that, and so I'm thankful to God that I've been able to do this scholarship for 16 straight years. And you gentlemen have a wonderful day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Allowing me to announce it.
Well, thank you for calling in. That's all the rest of the time we have. So we have to go to a commercial break now. Stay tuned for our second half. We'll be joined by a different candidate.
All right.
Have a good rest. Stay tuned.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's not how that can work.
So, Mike, what we have with
That's not how that can work.
land?
Which land?
She was telling them putting all the flowers up there.
Yeah. Well, the problem with it right now is that half of it's owned by the city and half of it's owned by the private people, and nobody wants to
They don't
give.
want to meet.
They don't want to meet.
But you the buffer. Because you taking care of the property.
I'm taking care of it right
And
now.
the city,
Yeah.
you taking care of the city property.
No, the city won't let me go near their property.
Because I remember it's
They
like
won't let me go near their
about
property.
3 lots over there. 3
Yeah,
or 4
I'm not
lots.
on city property. I'm on Mike Brundage's and Sinatra's, and that's it. The city wouldn't agree to anything that would have me on that land, and that's the problem, right? So, appreciate you.
Talk about the call to action.
Oh no, that's cool. Just leave one of these and just mention my website or something if you have time. Oh, that's great. That's cool. Hey, thank you guys. Good to see you, Murray. I'll see you soon.
Prize winner, she can be found on our website at empower965radio.com under the contest tab.
How you doing? Everything's live in here. Let's be clear on that right now.
Any contest
Give me
on
that.
the station
So it's all
sponsored
live.
by the station.
They didn't tell you.
Viewed on the station's website at power965radio.com.
Welcome back. Austin's not here. We're going to welcome back to the Jim Anderson Show. We're going to a next phase here. We got another candidate in here that's running for mayor of the city of Buffalo, and that's no other than the man, alumni from South Park. I think he went to South Park. Said he went there, and but he's here to talk about who he is and what's on his mission. James Payne is in the studio with Jim Anderson and Murray until Austin get back.
Hey, welcome, James. And again, folks, if you got a question for our guests, call in, be exact on your question. And because as you can see, a half an hour goes quick. And with that said, let me just shut up and say, I'm ready to turn the mics over to Mr. Payne. And like I mentioned earlier, these candidates are on their last run around before their petition turn in, and we're giving them as much opportunity as we can to bring it the way that they want to bring it. But if you have a pertinent question for them, please do call us, and here's your chance to talk to the candidate. And with that said, the Honorable James Payne.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm here this morning. Of course, last minute we're running around doing petitions
Yes.
and wrapping that up, preparing to move into the next phase of this particular campaign. Had a very busy weekend in terms of taking a look at the community, the city of Buffalo, and what's taking place in relationship to our young people. I am educated by profession and have seen a great deal of deprivation in the city of Buffalo, the serious impact in relationship to the failure of our mayor to address the needs of all the people throughout the city of Buffalo. Real challenge this past weekend. I had one of my former students. I went to his funeral.
Yes.
And I saw you there, Mark.
Yes.
And brought up a lot of questions to me in relationship to what are we doing in terms of advancing the needs of our kids, our students, and people of color throughout the city of Buffalo. And although the mayor's responsibility and job is for the whole city of Buffalo, I'm still amplifying and still saying that when you raise the conditions on the east side of Buffalo, you raise Buffalo.
Yes.
And I remember when I started this campaign, there were so many gentlemen that are campaigning presently for the office of mayor, pointed out that that was somewhat a real dismal perspective in regard to advancing the city of Buffalo. And now that they're stopping for votes, they're advocating for the advancement of the east side of Buffalo based upon the continuous neglect and also based upon the fact that a significant number of our people have suffered as a result of various administrations throughout the city of Buffalo. This just didn't occur under the past mayor, but it has been systemic throughout the city of Buffalo for centuries and decades.
Absolutely.
So I'm here talking about, number one, the issue of education, not from a experimental standpoint, but from the standpoint of experience and expertise within that particular field. I'm not coming here giving you a hypothesis in relationship to how I think the educational system should operate, because we all know if you're serious about education, that all education begins at home first.
Yes, absolutely.
And as a result of the continuous neglect and the level of disjointment regarding education, I'm not quite sure that we have utilized that effectively in order to advance our community. I know that there are a great deal of discussions taking place regarding the Kensington Expressway project. Very nice discussions. A lot of promises are being made. I've heard a lot of people say what can take place. Based upon my history in the city of Buffalo, there have always been promises made to people of color that had never been fulfilled. Once again, that is taking place even now throughout the city of Buffalo by those that are campaigning in terms of being the next mayor within this particular city. My question when we're talking about that particular project is, again and again and again, and have never received an answer, who is going to get the jobs as a result of that particular project? And how have our people been prepared, educated, and trained in order to take advantage of that particular project? I think there are a lot of people that are proposing some great ideas. I'm seeing a great deal of gentrification that is taking place on that particular area.
Just said it.
And I think that we should be very concerned about the conditions that are pervasive throughout the city of Buffalo, especially. And I don't want to give you the impression that I'm here to talk about primarily race, But I'm going to say this and be frankly honest with you, at WUFO Radio Power 96.5, that African Americans are being displaced in the city of Buffalo in great numbers and proportions. And I think that we should be greatly concerned regarding our inability to control the economics, the politics, and the social aspects of our community.
So James Payne, I was just riding down Genesee Street, right across the street from Chameleon's Food, where most Black folks usually get their produce from. And it was a welding shop there. And all of a sudden it was lit up and some folks got it just that quick. And I'm like, how is they opening up these places so fast? As your administration, would you be looking at how process goes on, who gets the bid for what, and then how the permits go down and all that? Will you have a committee to look over some of this stuff? Because it seems like things are happening too quick in our community, with bazaars opening up, things like that in our community, in the Black community. And I'm like, how's they getting these permits to open up so fast? And yet still, when I try to go for a permit or others, it's red tape.
I think it's important, whoever the mayor is going to be elected, that the mayor has some understanding and sensitivity in relationship to the biasness that exists as it relates to people of color in terms of being able to own and operate businesses throughout the city of Buffalo. I don't want to dismiss the fact either that many people of African descent have sold businesses that owned from one generation to the other to other people. I think the problem that we're dealing with here in the city of Buffalo is that, for all intents and purposes, we lack an agenda in terms of what we're going to do collectively in order to advance the community. Anytime you're between 38 to 40% of the population in the city of Buffalo, and you don't even control the corner stores in your community, speaks to some of the weaknesses and frailties that exist amongst ourselves.
So Larry Stetson on the Jefferson Avenue formulated some business owners, Black business owners, they're trying to do some of that stuff there. And I commend them for, being involved with trying to put a stakehold in the community right now, even though a lot of federal dollars and stuff is coming that way and city money is supposed to come to Jefferson Avenue. I'm just trying to see how we can get these young folks to buy into that. And it's just, we said mom and pop places, but it's not the mom and pop places anymore. It's just that property go up and it's just hell for it to get it. Even at the city auction, I'm being clear on property being sold that we know it's not even worth $10,000 to go for $190,000 in our community, and they put their money together and buy it. And the city knows this is like a farming market to throw us off. So I just wanted to know
the largest owner in the city of Buffalo is City Hall.
Yes.
Significant properties that are not on roll in terms of being able to generate revenue. It's owned by City Hall. Wow. Significant number of buildings in the city of Buffalo owned by City Hall are boarded up. Mm-hmm. Certainly, any particular mayor with any degree of sensitivity and one who understands the nature of finances and a level of deficits that exists within the city of Buffalo would certainly be inclined to want to get those particular properties on roll. I'm not sure that there is a desire to do that. I think, again, that people come in and they share grandiose ideas in relationship to how they're going to address the problems. But to be frankly honest with you, from every discussion I've had and debate that I've been engaged in, people are talking about downtown development of the waterfront, development of condominiums. I haven't heard anyone say they're going to build any condominiums on the east side of Buffalo or anywhere in that particular area. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lack of sensitivity, but I think too that the very nature of political contributions generate the nature of the agenda and the discussion for people that don't really look like us.
We're in a moment of really retaking our community back. And as we talk about things that the city can do, I think about all the council members of which the mayor will have something to say to them and directing their attention to is around the price gouging that is going on in our community that is hurting our young people. And here's what I mean by it. You can go into all these different stores and you see these uneven prices on for the same product. You go from one store to the other, and they may be off from anywhere from 50 to $1. And our young people are the ones who are being ripped off right in front of our eyes without the accountability being held on these stores to stop gouging in our community. So when they get access to stores, yeah, they don't mind paying more for a store. They pay more for a store because they're going to charge more for the product that they're selling out there. And somehow we need some way for us to clamp down on it. And I'm hoping the mayor will have a way to stir the common council or even have the authority to override them, to put out a task force that will go in and check these out. I mean, right now, you got stores that sell kids all these different sodas and stuff in a bottle that have returnable bottles and won't take the returnable bottle.
Took their nickel.
Yeah, just suck them in.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the things I'm concerned about.
Absolutely. Also, to as we talk about the project in relationship to the Kinston Expressway, I think it's also important that we acknowledge the factors as it relates to environmental justice and the impact of lead that it has upon our community and households. I think the houses, about 80% of the homes were built in 1978, city of Buffalo. Large proportion in relationship to lead that are existing within households. The failure on the part of the city to address and remediate those particular problems continues to exist. Not only within the class, but not only our household, but also how it has filtered in to academic performance in relationship to the classroom.
Yes.
And as our students grow up and they find themselves dealing with a great deal of deficiencies as a result of the impact of lead. Keep in mind also that we're living in a community that is impacted by cancer clusters on a continuous basis. Ovarian cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, lupus.
Oh,
We're living in a community where people are telling us some real grandiose stories and talking that the Buffalo is on its way up. It may be on its way up, but not the community in which I'm a part of. And the only way that our community can effectively grow and develop as a collective is that we have someone in office with a sensitivity and understanding in relationship to what impacts upon people of color and poor people throughout this city.
Oh, we do have a caller. Caller, you should be on the air. Good morning. Caller hung up.
Did he hung up?
The caller hung up.
Okay. If you're trying to get a call in,
They're back.
caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hello, your Anderson Show.
This is.
Oh, I was just calling in just to say, this is one of the most refreshing shows that I've heard in a while that benefits and talks about this community. And I just want to commend, the individual that's speaking, about what's really and truly going on in this community. I just appreciate it. I appreciate you, Jim, and Mr. Payne that's talking today. Finding someone that's really expressing, the way the community feels, and not just, going along with your everyday program with the Democratic Party that really haven't done much in the last 20 years or more so as far as the economics on the east side of Buffalo. And I just want to say it's a very refreshing conversation that you guys are having this morning. And I want to thank you for having it. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we do a lot of, we're talking about the Democratic Party, but I believe all the parties are actually acting up. Republican Party, working family lines, the lines that we use to communicate or get endorsements. I don't know. I talked to you a couple of times. I see you out there. You campaigning, brother. You out there working hard. But I know the signatures is mentioned that if a person signs one signature, the other signature won't get in. Cancels out. But this is the process that I went through with the canceling out piece. First of all, most of you really can't even recognize the signature. Really can't. This happened with Miss Doyle when she ran for governor. And then this happened with Betty Jean Grant when she ran it for senator about an X mark and all that there. And I'm like, who is the people that's judging this stuff or saying, oh, that's Miss Jones' name? Miss Jones might be 90 years old. She might do a scribble and you want to mark it off. But I'm like this, if the process is there, don't be so fearful about who's running. If the community want them, then we're going back to, the person that's there. But now that this race is coming to a bubble and it's going to be over in June, primary basically.
Yes.
And then we really going to see a lot of folks out there really campaigning, want to kiss the babies and do all that there. But you are already ahead of the game. I think you're really ahead of the game. Even when they said we already picked our candidates. I'm like, how do they pick the candidates without coming to the community? How do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's important that we understand the significance and relationship to the people. And the people should set the agenda. The people determine their own candidate. The litmus test of the people is what you have done in the community prior to running. I think it's incumbent upon whoever is running that we keep in mind that we're serving the people, the community, that we have no vested interest in terms of maintaining the status quo in relationship to those who profess to be power brokers in the city of Buffalo, that we're approaching this very differently, systematically. I think you may have seen me like several times in one weekend.
Yes.
And my thing is that we're reaching into the community, the people who have been negated and ignored on a continuous basis in relationship to the political process. And we're talking about the significance of owning our community. And I believe that as we own our community, it allows us to be equal pari in relationship to other particular communities. We approach it from a position of strength and respect. We have our own agenda that advances our community. And ultimately, as we advance our community, we advance the city of Buffalo. That's why I continuously talk about the significance of neighborhood planning units in terms of being able to bring people together based upon their interests, not merely on the basis of pigmentation or income, but also what is interesting. Also, because we live in a segregated community, and it's grossly segregated.
Yes.
NPUs help in terms of being able to bring people collectively together in terms of sharing ideas and perspectives and trying to help Buffalo be what it should be. We should see diversity as a strength and not as a weakness.
Yes.
And I spent some time in Broadway Market this past weekend, an event that was taking place. Very few people of African descent was there. But it did not matter because I had a discussion with a couple people that remembered when Broadway was Broadway. And we all agreed that, we may be different in skin color, but we're all the same in terms of our aspirations, our desires, and our need in terms of advancing Buffalo as a city for everyone.
Oh, so when you talk about the Broadway market, diversity is there. Now you're seeing new folks there. At one time, that was all Polish, mostly.
Yes.
And then it was blacks. And now you have so many ethnic backgrounds there. Now, how do you approach them to tell them about you running for mayor? I mean, has it been a challenge, or do you have someone in your camp that looks like them, walk like them, talk like them as well?
I got somebody in my camp that look like us, talk like us, walk like us.
That's what I'm saying.
That means that pretty much that we approach it from the perspective that this is one Buffalo, that all of us are the same in some regards, and then we're different in some aspects in relationship to maybe culture. But there's an advantage in terms of people being able to collectively come together, in terms of being able to address our differences, and also establish some degree of commonality in terms of what we desire to see take place in this city.
So it says one Buffalo. Is that your campaign? What is your campaign slogan for you?
No pain, no gain.
No pain, no
pain,
gain.
No gain. You can't have one Buffalo if you don't have pain.
You have to get closer.
Yes.
You have to get closer to the mic.
Yes. So, James, I commend you for what you're doing.
He has 5 minutes, so
Yes.
if he has some things.
Yeah. So we're gonna let you have the platform to say what you want to see change in the city, and anyone you want to give kudos to your team, to give them a hope of he's thinking about me and walking.
Kudos to
Yes.
the Friendship Baptist Church and the people that continuously been standing behind me and pushing me. To the community, the religious communities throughout the city of Buffalo. Also to young people that have shared with me their perspectives. Leaving that funeral this past Saturday and seeing the students that I've taught in the past standing in front of me talking about "We with you, Mr. Payne" is very critical in relationship to what we're doing. I think it's important that we continue to work diligently, regardless of what happens in this particular campaign. It's not about me, it's about we. And I think it's very important that we continuously talk about the advancement of the city of Buffalo, especially on the east side. Because again, as I mentioned before, my professor told me that a rising tide lifts all ships. So I would just want to end it by saying once again, no pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain. Austin, back to you.
Well, I think that it's a very good thing to hear someone giving such an honest view, like the caller said, of the city. It really isn't like, rainbows and sunshines. There are people who are really suffering disproportionately.
Yes.
And I do think that it does require, like you said, a lifting tide of everybody
Yes.
in order for us all to kind of rise and get to where we're getting to. My fear is that I don't think I have a very politically active city. I think even for the people that know what's going on, the caller is saying they like the guest. The guest is a mayoral candidate, right? So you should probably know the guest's name. If you like what they're talking about enough, you should probably vote for him,
Yes.
right? And so I think my fear is just that, how do we get people more involved? Is it more conversations? I know this is an important piece, but when we talk about our young and our disenfranchised demographics, how do we keep that engagement up so that for candidates who have such a great view for the city, we can make sure that we have the proper support so that same old doesn't continue to just be in power? How do we make this? How does this change start? How does this shift start?
I think that discussion starts from the fact that we're talking about transparency in government. That's why we're talking about participatory budgeting in relationship to having the citizens in the city of Buffalo play a significant role regarding what particular projects are essential and important to our community. I think we have to engage in that process that was followed in the 1960s, way before you were born, in relationship to establishing and developing freedom schools throughout the city of Buffalo, to educate people in terms of the particular issues that are taking place, but also to be encouraging and supportive of each other. When I'm talking with young people, I see the desire for drive, the desire to want something different, but I also hear an enormous degree of discussions in terms of leaving Buffalo if you want to do anything with your life. In some kind of way, we have to turn that discussion around. But until we address the issues of poverty, racism, segregation, that discussion will never filter by any form or fashion, because those are the discussions, and they're very hard discussions to have, but they're essential discussions to have in order to advance the city of Buffalo, our young people, our older people, all the citizens of Buffalo, if we're interested in moving forward.
I don't have too much always to add. It's always a pleasure, and like I said, I think that it's a very refreshing. It's always refreshing to hear. I think it's just very. It doesn't make you feel. Like you were there yet, but we're not. And I think it'd be wrong to lie to people and tell us that we are. So I know we are closing out. I want to give you a chance to, if you do have any, again, closing remarks.
I want to say thank you to you guys for having me here today. There's a lot of pressure going on out here these days, but that's how I'm built. So, I want to continue to encourage you guys to keep doing what you're doing. I want to say thank you once again for allowing me to be here.
So we know we got an Easter egg hunt coming up. I'm just going to mention that WFO has an Easter egg hunt coming up at Mount Olive Baptist Church. So it's going to be taking place at 701 East Delavan Avenue, Buffalo, New York. Free entry for all. You can come there. What is the date on this thing? It's going to be April the 19th, 2025, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Don't come late. Be there on time. They're going to be giving away a lot of stuff. They even got the Easter bunny in New York Knicks gear. I don't know what's up with that. But I don't know, Shy. They should have somebody else started the Knicks, but that's what we're going to be taking place. And then also, Saturday, May the 10th, 12 p.m., Salvatore's Italian Garden, Mother Day's brunch and lunch is going to be taking place here. And you can call the radio station, get the information, $40 to get you in the door. So check out those events that WFO is taking place here.
Brother Payne, thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
And
Lady.
hey, listeners, thank you. And as one caller said, this has been sobering. And the race is not over. So don't act like we already got a mayor. We don't.